Hi friends, I'm coming to you today to talk about what to look for when you're hiring an outside general counsel for your business. And I'm borrowing some of these ideas from Rod Ahmed, who is the founder of an organization called Law Trades that connects attorneys to businesses. But all of these comments, whether they were prompted by his article or not, are mine because I'm basing them on years of experience, but I'm looking at his article as sort of a template to kind of prompt thinking and explanation. A company attorney is an extremely important role, and to hire an in-house attorney is going to require significant compensation. You may have to spend, you would have to spend upwards of $100,000 to get someone of experience, and maybe twice, three times that, depending on what you're looking for. That may be well outside your budget, especially if you're a growing company. And so one thing you can look to is you can hire an outsourced general counsel. And I'm currently performing that function for certain companies and have in the past over 25 years. And typically my role is with companies that do not have enough legal work that they really need a full-time in-house attorney, but are big enough that they have legal issues come up on a regular basis. I perform that function for them. And that's a legitimate practice area that a number of attorneys have adopted. Now, you might ask the question, what a outside general counsel does for a company. First of all, the number one role is as a legal advisor. The president of the company or senior management may have legal questions. Can I do this under OSHA? Can I allow my employees to wear sandals on the production floor? If so, how do I do that? So I don't get sued if something happens. Go down the list. There's a zillion questions they could have, but so the first thing is a general counsel is the legal advisor to the company. Secondly, they're the representative of the company in all legal matters. So they interface with counsel from other companies, counsel for a former employee or a vendor, or perhaps for a customer that has issues. And in major business transactions, oftentimes a company will turn a matter over to me and say, please negotiate this relationship with this vendor or customer or whatever. And it adds a little oomph, a little credibility to the company's position, because they've got a professional attorney representing them rather than, having a manager or somebody else. So that's another important role of the general counsel. General counsel is also a service provider. They can provide numerous legal services to the company. I review contracts on a regular basis for companies that I represent. Sometimes I draft them. Sometimes my role is to review them after the other company's counsel has drafted them. But whatever the unique needs of your company are, we might file a trademark application for you and then go about enforcing that. I've collected money for a lot of companies, and that's a big role of a general counsel, is to make sure that people aren't getting delinquent in their accounts. And so that's an important role as well. What skills do you need to have as an outsourced general counsel? You got to be good at legal research and writing. There's no two ways about that. You've got to be able to clearly write a policy memorandum as required by the CEO, or a a great advisory memorandum to give the CEO about, okay, these are the things you can legally do and these are the things you can't. I try to help management when I can to do what they want to do and give them a way to do it. And the way isn't always what they want to do, but my role is to try to keep them out of trouble. And I also don't want to be always the Mr. No. I'd rather help them to find a way to get where they want to go without running afoul of the law and potentially causing problems. So regulatory compliance, legal compliance is a big area for an outsourced general counsel, and they've got to be competent to do legal research, to figure stuff out, to do writing, and put it forward concisely and clearly for company management. It also helps to spot issues before they arrive. So it's good if the general counsel is familiar enough with the inner workings of your company to be able to see some of the things that could potentially create problems and spot those for management. Now, that's an advantage of having an ongoing relationship with an attorney, is the more they work for you and the more stuff they do for you, the more they'll discover the inner workings of your business and be able to spot those issues and make recommendations. And it creates certain efficiencies just because they know how your business works, they know the context of the industry you're operating in, and that takes a little time, but by going back to the same attorney each time, you're always better off in that situation. Corporate governance is another issue. We want to review make sure you're complying with state and federal corporate statutes. We want to make sure that you're in the best kind of entity for what you're trying to accomplish. So it might be an LLC, it might be a corporation. Do you want to have subchapter S status where profits and losses flow through to the owner? And that can be very advantageous tax-wise, if you're a closely held company, to have that. So we're going to look at employment laws, and your outsourced general counsel can help you to navigate that minefield, as well as help you in the process if you have to terminate an employee or when you onboard and hire new people. There may be certain non-disclosure agreements and things that are important for you to get when you onboard a new employee. Customer privacy, increasing importance in the digital age for that. You're holding customer and client information and maybe financial information, and you need to be very careful to comply with consumer privacy laws. Of course, there's advertising laws, and depending on the area, the industry in which you do business, that may be very important. Intellectual property is a whole new species of issues. I don't personally do patents. I never have, and I'm not admitted to the patent bar. If I have a client that needs a patent, I will find the right patent attorney, and I know a few, and I'll manage that relationship so senior management doesn't have to worry about it. But if there is an area that's not within my wheelhouse, and for every general counsel that's going to be true, because no one can know everything. If you were going to take your company public, for example, I would bring in someone who does nothing but corporate securities law, and I would have them help with that process. So things that aren't within my wheelhouse, we can hire outside counsel for on a specific basis, but me being the corporate counsel, the general counsel, I have a general knowledge of what's going on and what the legal issues are that you're facing, and that can be very helpful. What type of legal services should you outsource? I think in general, you want to outsource as much of it as you can and take that off the desk of senior management. Let them focus on what they do best and what they know. Don't try to have them, spin their wheels all day being an amateur lawyer, because that's not what they're best at. They're there for their vision, their perspective, because they have a product or service that they believe in, and that's what they need to be focused on. Most general counsel do not do litigation. I've got years of litigation experience, and I've done a lot of it for companies, both that I'm general counsel for and companies that I'm not. In-house counsel generally supports an outsourced counsel in a litigation matter. And if I had a big enough case for you, for example, and I was your outsourced general counsel, if I had a big enough case that one lawyer wasn't enough, then I would work with somebody on the outside to help with that. But that's a rare occurrence. And contract drafting and review, as I said, is a very important source of legal issues for companies, and in-house general counsel almost always handles that. The deals that you put together. Your attorney can also provide valuable perspective in what is possible. Maybe other angles on what you might propose to the other side in a particular deal to reach your objectives. And, is that legal service? Well, maybe not purely a legal service, but it certainly is. I mean, your lawyer will know better than you what the parameters of the law are that might govern the formation of a contract in your situation, and because of experience may just have an idea of what they've seen before, what might work in your situation that you haven't encountered at this stage of the development of your company. So those are reasons to outsource general counsel and what you need to look for. I would add, I think you need a smart person who is a quick study and able to learn, because a general counsel has to have general knowledge for obvious reasons. You can't, no attorney carries around all of their knowledge. Even very expert attorneys don't carry around all their knowledge in their head. They don't carry around the whole statute book of the state or federal government in their brain. And a general counsel who is serving a company on various legal issues has to be good at research. They have to be good at looking things up and figuring things out and applying the law, maybe in areas where there isn't a lot of established precedent, maybe in areas where the specific legal question that you're posing hasn't been directly answered either by statute or by judicial decision. So you need somebody who's agile and able to look at a legal problem and be a little creative at times. And it's, being a good lawyer is as much art as science at times. The answers aren't always perfectly clear. And yet you want somebody that's going to keep you out of trouble as much as possible while helping you to further the interests of your business. And that is it can be a complicated task, but it's fun and it's rewarding because you can help a business to avoid the landmines and to navigate the complex legal and professional kinds of pitfalls that they may run into on their way to success. So I hope that this has been helpful, and I hope that you have more to think about when you decide it's time to hire a general counsel for your company. And do consider, if you're a growing company, consider outsourcing to someone like myself, because it'll save you a lot of money. It'll also give you access to an experienced attorney who can find those answers for you that you need. I know for me, when one of my clients calls, if it's a brief call, 5 minutes or something, I generally do not charge for that. They'll call and want to know if they even need a lawyer for a particular problem, and they'll just want to call and get that reassurance that no, this is an easy fix. Go ahead and do it yourself, or no, this is something where you really need to involve an attorney. And so I offer that to you too if you're in that position where you have something niggling at the back of your brain and you don't know if it's something you need a lawyer for. That's that's a good way to introduce yourself to me. So anyway, I'm grateful to have been able to talk to you, and thank you for listening, and we'll talk again soon.